Welcome to the Hoops and Huddle podcast. I am Malika Walker, and he is
Brandon with the rubric. Thank you. Glad to be here. It is.
Yep, stay tuned. Today we'll be talking to skill developer Mark Edwards. We're really excited to talk to him and about you and get his thoughts on this conversation on youth basketball, and is it impacting load management today? What does a top skill developer that works with youth players all the way through the pros? He's the trainer that's worked with Jordan Poole among others, but he also has some young players that are currently playing college that he works with, and he works with still works in the youth hoop arena. So let's see what he has to say on this topic. So let's get into it. Thank you, Mark, for joining us as we launch the Hoops and Huddle podcast. We wanted to start off our podcast talking about AAU a little bit and talking about, is AAU being used as a scapegoat for load management a little bit? Like, is it, because I saw some articles recently about AAU being to blame for load management and the injuries players are facing today. But I have some other theories on that. So I was curious with someone who, with your experience as a skill developer and with, first of all, let's go through your background, because my goodness, Mark, you're you're
That's
a
not everything.
representative.
That's just something I just threw together.
Yeah, like Mark, is the owner of Crossover Talent Agency and Monstar Lab Basketball Training Company. He has 29 years experience working as a professional in training development of top NBA, high school, middle school, and elementary school athletes. There's a lot here, but I'm gonna go right to some of the people you work with: Jordan Poole, Jalen Green, Terrence Ross, Malcolm Brogdon, Kevin Knox, Malik Beasley, Terry Rozier, DeMar DeRozan, and a host of others, some college athletes. Like, Mark is constantly out here working with young people, with youth, as well as with NBA players. So he knows the game, the perfect person to talk to about this. So me
I
and
have the number one player in the country, Isaiah Collier.
Yes, I do see it. I do see that. I
That's
was
my
just trying
guy.
to like
Since seventh grade. That's gonna be the next one. He's gonna be the next big thing in basketball.
number
He's a
one
kid
player,
who,
and Isaiah Collier is
yeah.
number one player in class 2023, and he's going to USC.
Going to USC. You got the Naismith Player of
Arrington
the Year
Page.
award. You got the Wooten and Arrington. Yeah, Arrington's a sleeper pro. He's gonna be amazing. I like developing. It's just more fun than tagging on to somebody else's work. I want to develop players, not in my own image, but in the style of play that I like.
And what positions do they play?
Point guard, and Arrington's a power forward, but I could see him possibly, depending on how his development goes in the next 7 months, I think he possibly could be a Paul George type of guy. Definitely not as like Paul is lively, but I think he's a smoother version. He has a great shot. He's developing. 2 years ago, he couldn't get off the bench for our team, and this year we're actually about to go for our third state championship in 4 years in the state of Georgia. So we're doing pretty good.
Wow. And what's the name of your
Wheeler High School.
Yeah.
Same school where Jalen Brown went to, Sharif Abdul-Rahim went to. So we got a storied history.
Lineage. You got some lineage going on.
Yes.
So thank you for speaking with us. So you want to kick us off with a question, Brandon, that you have, and then I'll follow up.
Yeah, right. Nice to meet you, man. It's great to meet you. I've been connecting with Malika a lot in spaces. I've been always looking at the business side of sports, but we wanted to get into, if you're thinking about, if I'm a parent, if I'm a child or a young athlete, what are the pros and cons for you in thinking about AAU so that I'm better prepared by the time I get to the NBA from that perspective? Sometimes we hear about, they play too much, they get to injuries, all of that stuff. But we know that it's a necessary path that they have to go. What are the pros and cons that I should be considering when I'm an elite basketball player at a young age? And I'm talking 13, 14, 15 years old.
And when do they
Develop.
start? Like, when do you usually see young players? At what age should they start if they want to try to be elite by the time they're 14, 15?
I think they should start getting some. It starts with physical training.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is everybody goes to skill training first, and it's not the best players that make it. It's the best athletes that play basketball really well that make it. So, it doesn't make sense that these kids are doing all these skilled things, but you're not preparing yourself for the rigors of the NBA, the rigors of college. You're talking about 35 games in college, 82 games in the NBA regular season, 21 games potentially in the playoffs, 5 preseason games, and you're on a plane 82 times a year. Front, up, and back is two trips. You got 41 home games, so you got to go up and back. So that's 82 times you're on a plane, not counting playoffs on a plane or whatever. So are you preparing your body correctly? Most aren't. So the issue with load management is that when you look at the statistics, you look at John Stockton, he played 16 seasons of 82 games. Karl Malone played 15 seasons of 82 games. Michael Jordan played 9 seasons, 82 games. These are all old school guys. You're talking about guys who didn't have protein shakes. We didn't have Normatec. We didn't have cryo. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
have all these trainers. Nowadays, you have one NBA physical trainer for every 2 players, every 2 to 3 players. Take care of just those players. So why are the guys missing games? Why are they not as healthy? And one of the things Paul George said the other day was that when he first got in the league, we would practice hard for 2 hours, scrimmage, go up and down. We'd play, come back, practice hard for 2 hours, play, practice hard for 2 hours, play. We got our rest in between traveling the games or whatever. And it prepared your body for the battle. Whereas now guys are load managing, and management is a thing that the San Antonio Spurs brought into the NBA. If most people don't know, the San Antonio Spurs are the organization with the largest coaching tree and front office tree in the league. So most front office people and NBA coaches come from San Antonio. They're the ones that created that system. They're the ones that created a system of even before the games, you see there'll be 2 players on the court at the same time. So every 2 players gets 15 minutes on the court to work on whatever individual movement the team wants them to do or whatever before the game. Most people don't get to the game on time. You got to get there an hour before. So you get to see everybody's individual workout. You get to see Steph Curry's workout, Klay Thompson's workout, and these are
They're
things
always
they
there
want
when
to
I go to
work on.
games. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So San Antonio are the ones that created the load management thing, and the league has followed because their leaves have fallen onto other teams, and it's infected them. That's the issue because I remember back when I bought a ticket. I bought a ticket, damn near front row. Want to see LeBron. I want to see Miami Heat,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
LeBron didn't play.
Oh my goodness. I know you were hot.
Chris Bosh had 39, but I didn't come to see Chris Bosh play. I didn't come to see him shoot jumpers. I came to see LeBron, and I paid about $700 for these seats, and I was pissed. And it was like he was hurt. It was they were arresting him, and I'm like, that's serious. But whatever. This is an issue. There's a lot of issues in it. AAU prepares kids for the rigors of real life. Real life is the NBA. If you play 100 games during the AAU season, let's see. You start in April, May, June, July, 4 months. If kids are playing, kids will probably play 3 games a weekend, sometimes 4. So, I mean, it's not a lot of play. We did more playing than that in the 80s. We did way more playing. We were outside playing on concrete. We played in leagues. We traveled across the town to play in one league, then go play another game later on that
So can I
night on
jump in here,
concrete.
Mark? Can I jump in here?
Sure.
So like if a kid is playing, like I read that sometimes kids can play like 4 games in a day. You're saying that's just, like, that's not really,
No.
like that's not leading to what's going on today.
When you were younger, did you jump double dutch?
Yes, I did. I did it all day.
Thank you. On the concrete.
And
So
my friends and my
don't
cousins would play hoop or football
all day.
all day. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
That's true.
And back in the days, people didn't miss games. So
Mhm.
how is it now that we have way more technology? They're supposedly they're better athletes.
Mhm.
Well, what's going on? And I blame the trainers. I blame the physical trainers. I feel like you have a lot of physical trainers who didn't play the sport, and they're reading these books and creating these theories, and the theories aren't being supported by practical information. Like, I actually did this and this what happened. I'm new, I have a new theory, let's try it. The athletes will last longer. Well, here's the problem. Our athletes are actually staying in the game too long. Carmelo
Dirk
Anthony
even talked
stayed too
about,
long.
yeah, Dirk even talked about if he left the game earlier, he wouldn't be in so much pain,
Yeah,
or have so
LeBron is
much
staying
trouble.
too long. He's too long. I'm sorry. We love you, LeBron, but you stayed too long. I can't watch LeBron play. And he's one of my all-time favorite players. Him and Michael Jordan, all-time favorite players. And I can't watch this LeBron play. A lot of respect because he knows how to play the game, but I didn't come up watching him play this way. I appreciated his game because of his athleticism, just the excitement, the electricity he brought. He's a
Right.
great basketball player now. His IQ's out the window. It's crazy. But I don't want to see that. I want to see that. That's what you sold me on. You know what I'm saying? Like when
Mhm.
Mike was with the Wizards, I didn't watch Mike play. But when Mike was with the Bulls, I didn't miss a Bulls game.
They miss a Bulls game. Got it.
Yeah, some highlights with the Wizards. I watched some of them. I'm a Michael Jordan head as well, and there's some
You
I
watched
didn't
some of
watch.
them.
I watched
But
some of.
how many Bulls games you missed?
I didn't miss them.
Exactly, because it's a different Mike.
Mhm.
Respect due,
He didn't come
but
back for the same reason. He came back for ownership reasons. It was a completely different reason, but still, my question, my next, and honestly, when you look at Zion and what's going on, Zion's going to be out for more weeks. I was reading up on something today where he was like 15, 16. He was having to get some treatment on his legs, and he has something going on, and his parents were there and were concerned. When you look at Zion, and if you were training him, what would you have told him about keeping his body, about his body, and working with him at a 15, 16, if you saw that he was already starting to have this?
there's nothing you can do with Zion. Zion's
Really?
body type is his body type. Zion is in way better shape, has actually changed his body from what he was as a 10th grader. I have pictures I can send you guys of Zion as a 10th grader. I'll send it to you, Malika. And you'll be like, whoa, this is a little chubby kid with athletic ability. He's Charles Barkley, a young Charles Barkley. But Charles got to a point where Charles damn near was vegetarian or whatever. Charles had a massive change in his eating habits when he got to Phoenix, lost all that weight and was good. But Charles was a freak of nature. Zion's a freak of nature too, but you're not really going to be able to change much with Zion. That's Zion's natural makeup. And you look at him, he walks on his tippy toes. He's just a freak of nature. I mean, the only thing that you can do with Zion is he can go vegan, stop eating meat, and be plant based, and he would lose easily
From
25 pounds,
okay.
easily 25 pounds. But and he would get stronger because plant based diet you get more protein than you would eating meat. You know what I'm saying? So that would be something that's a life change. That's a life hack. I don't think he's ready for that. I think he's too young. I don't know that his body will be able to withstand the rigors of the NBA. I don't know that he can play 82 games, 21 playoff games, 5 preseason games, and travel on the plane 82 times. And you remember back in the days, we flew commercial.
Yes.
So and everybody couldn't sit in first class, so guys were sitting with the
Yep.
chair.
Right.
With their height and all of that.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. Everybody's private now,
Okay. So
and
you're
guys still
saying
aren't playing games.
so you're saying if he were to go to a plant-based diet, that would be even tougher for him to handle than it is now, or
He'd
even
have to
today,
have
he
a
just
chef.
can't. Okay.
He'd have to have a chef that would prepare his meals for him, and he could do it because I'm plant-based right now, and it saved my life. It's you. They can find food for you to eat. It's just the elimination of meat, and what that does is it takes away the inflammation in your body, in your veins, in your arteries and so forth. And that inflammation is in your joints. That's what meat does when it's in your system. It causes inflammation. There's a movie that what's his name? Chris Paul is executive producer. Chris Paul, Lewis Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger is vegan. And it's about athletes. Some of the greatest athletes in the world are plant-based, and I think plant-based and vegan, like the word, when people say vegan, oh, it's really bad, but it's really plant-based. It's eliminating dairy, it's eliminating, meat out of your diet. I mean, some people can't eliminate all the way, but the less meat you eat, the healthier you are. And like for me, they were trying to have me have knee replacement surgery. I moved to Cali. I became vegan for a year
Hmm.
straight, no meat, no fish, no nothing.
Okay.
And all the inflammation in my knees went away. I was able to start running hills and mountains and so forth. I lost a ridiculous amount of weight. I gained some weight back because I got sick with COVID and my lungs got scarred, so I couldn't work out anymore. But now I'm all the way healthy again, and I'm back losing the weight, shape, or whatever. And I have
Okay.
no pain.
Okay.
So with these athletes, they have to make life choices that I think maybe they're too young to make.
Mm. Mm.
So it's
Mm.
your contention that AAU is being used as a scapegoat for load management.
It is. It is because you have people who are making these claims that know nothing about AAU. Like Steve Kerr made claims about AAU when the majority of the kids who play the McDonald's game play EYBL, which is AAU. Those kids are running high-level NBA plays in the EYBL. They're the best athletes in the world. Our USA team, I think we destroy the Europeans when we go play under 18, under 17, under 16, under 15. We destroy them. I think we've only lost one game
Oh,
since
wow.
they've created USA basketball or something like that. It's a crazy record.
Yeah.
So if we're not doing it right, then who is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side, I wonder, is there even a pathway to the NBA if you don't play AAU? Like you
Well, TE
almost
is a
don't have a
pathway,
pathway.
but you want to play against the best.
That's correct.
So that's the issue.
That's
You want
right.
to play against the best. You want to iron sharpens iron.
Hmm.
So that's what you want to be able to do. And playing AAU basketball is a determination of what you look like playing against your peers.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I appreciate this insight. We spoke to a therapist as well, and her, she actually played the game as well. So from her perspective, like she had different approaches to how she would work with athletes. Like sometimes she felt like repetition in playing basketball, like too much repetition, like maybe break it up and play another. Like she had different things that she would prescribe, but she didn't necessarily say AAU leads to load management. She didn't necessarily believe that either, but she also played the game. So
But the issue is multiple sports. We were better athletes,
yeah,
which is why we weren't getting hurt. We played multiple sports, but nowadays, every sport, if you don't like choose one and master it, it's hard to play multiple sports and be good. Nowadays these young kids have quarterback coaches, running back coaches, wide receiver coaches. You know what I'm saying? They playing T-ball, they
Yeah.
have baseball trainers and coaches. You
The
know,
one thing. Yeah. Get them doing the one thing. Yeah.
Get them to
yeah.
master
So
one thing, but like I think about athletes like Deion Sanders who
can't
um
exist anymore.
they don't exist anymore. The only
Can't.
reason I mention him is because he I knew guys that ran track, played basketball, and they played football. So
Mm-hmm.
those usually were the three, or it was football or baseball, one or the other. And there was one they were really dominant in, but the other two, they just wanted to keep their body moving and keep active. Like
You can do that
yeah.
through 8th grade. After 8th grade, you can't really do that anymore because
Mhm.
one of those teams, one of those coaches is going to be like, you got to pick one, son, because they're going to require
Gotcha.
you to do something that coincides with something else that you're doing. And they're going
Okay.
to say, you got to pick one because we have a bunch of athletes who've picked one. You know, now,
Yeah.
mind you, there are multi sports stars, but it's a rarity. And we're talking Deion Sanders, arguably one of the greatest
Yeah,
athletes we've
he's an
ever known.
anomaly. Yeah, I
And
realize.
then Bo Jackson, one of the greatest athletes we've ever known.
Right.
Dave Winfield.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Winfield played basketball, football, and baseball.
Yep.
Danny Ainge, you know what I'm saying? He played, I know he played baseball. I think he might have almost played professionally, you
Yeah.
know, and played with the Celtics. And he was a good football player. So those
That's
are
true.
rarities. Allen Iverson,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rarities. Ronald Curry, you know, who was he ended up being a wide receiver for the Raiders, but he was a quarterback all through high school. And he was the player of the year in football and basketball in high school in the state of Virginia. You know, so we've seen this occurrence, but it's so rare. And it's
Mm.
okay. It's okay if you pick one sport. The issue is you need to develop your body. And the school systems have destroyed our kids in regards to like gym.
Okay.
Like kids don't even dress
Yeah.
up for
Yeah.
gym anymore. Like
Yeah.
we had gym every day.
Yeah.
That was 8th period for me.
Mm-hmm.
We had gym every day. We had the presidential award if you did pull-ups, sit-ups, push-ups, you did jogging. Now
Yep.
nobody dresses for gym. It's an option. Like you might take gym once in high school or whatever like that because you're on block
Yeah.
classes. So we have an unhealthy country.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
not athletes anymore. So yeah, we're just specialized athletes. Even with weight training, back in the days, all the weight trainers were football weight trainers. Now
Yeah.
you have to find weight trainers that are sports specific. Excuse me, sports specific. Like myself,
Mm-hmm.
I do speed, agility, explosion work with Vertimax and resistance training or whatever. I've had over 40 kids, excuse me, I've had over 150 kids register over 40 inch vertical in the last 12 years, along with the skill training I do for the younger kids. Very few people do that, you know?
Okay.
So it's about turning our kids into athletes, especially when they're young. Because what
Okay.
happens is, like you were saying earlier, Malika, you were saying muscle memory, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The more muscle you have, or muscle memory you have,
Right.
how much easier it is for elite athletes to go from one sport to the next is because of their athletic ability. So the more athletic you are, it's so much more easier to jump from one sport to the next and do well. Because most sports, you got to be able to run over somebody, run past somebody, run over somebody, or jump over somebody.
That's right.
That's
That's
all
right.
athleticism.
That's right.
If you have that, you can play any sport.
So are
Except
you
pickleball.
struggling? So do you sometimes struggle to convince young parents and young athletes in the early days? Because you said you can go do a skill or you can go do strength and conditioning. And you say they don't do a lot of strength and conditioning. They jump right into skill work. How do you convince those young players? You see some talent, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 years old, and they're jumping quick into skill, but not into preparing their bodies. How are you getting them over that hurdle to convince them, hey, you need to do something different? It's not the skill.
I don't.
Oh,
You can't save everybody. You have to
Okay.
find like-minded people who
Okay.
respect you for what you do.
Okay.
Like Malika read my resume and it's like, oh, you did a lot. That's not everything. That's a fourth. If I put everything else out there, it's crazy. I love what I do. I've never worked a day in my life.
I love it.
I've made a ridiculous amount of money doing something I love. It's a passion. And it's so easy for me right now because analytics has made it easy for me. The internet has made it easy for me. Uh, it's so much easier to develop players. The NBA tells me exactly what they're looking for in players. Exactly. At every height, every position, every skill. I know exactly what they want. And when the tide changes, I know exactly what they want. You know why? It's in synergy. It's in second spectrum. The analytics are there. And with analytics, it's not just numbers. When they put those numbers up there, you can click the screen and it'll show every single movement that player made. So now, oh, okay, that's the movement you want. Okay, 15-footer, dribble handoff, 2 dribbles in. Okay, all right. Oh, his footwork's not right. Okay, he's falling away on a shot. I can fix it. So it's easy now. Back in the days, you just have to be good.
Right.
We didn't
Right.
have film study like we have nowadays.
Yeah.
I can wait. So they do comparisons. They do comps. Like, who is he a comp for? Oh, he's a Penny Hardaway comp. Okay, well, if that's the case, go look at Penny Hardaway film and tell me you could do what he did. We don't have any player that can play at Penny Hardaway now. Not one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We don't have a player that can play like Len Bias. Not one.
Right.
We don't have a player that can play like Michael Jordan. Not one. Because Kobe tried, but Mike ran a 4.1, 4.2 40. 4.1, 4.2. I saw Michael Jordan as a rookie in Madison Square Garden the first time he got there. And he scared me how fast and quick he was. I've never seen a human being move like that before.
See, people haven't
Bo
seen
Jackson
that,
is
and that's why,
no.
like today when they have a discussion on Jordan, they never saw a young Jordan. They never saw him play live. Like I saw him play live, and I was in all the way back here somewhere. But watching him play, like they don't have that experience. So when you see people make these comparisons and have these rankings, it's just insane.
You
I
laugh.
want to get you out of here and not keep you too long. I wanted you to talk about, you'd mentioned Isaiah Collier, let's talk about him. When did you start working with him? What did you work on with him? And also in Arrington, let's talk about the young players that you have coming out this year.
I met Isaiah. He was a 7th grader, and we were doing a high school camp for guards and big men.
Wow.
And it was all guards that day. And it was a high school camp. He was in 7th grade. So I'm looking at him, I'm like, you're a good little player, man. I'm thinking he like in 10th grade or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, are you good, man? You keep trying, man. You're going to be all right, man. I was like, what year you going? You going to be a junior? He's like, no, I'm going to the 7th grade. Like, what?
Wow.
And he's competing with high school kids and holding his own. He's not as strong as they are, but you can see there's something there. So became fast friends with his mother and father. His uncle is the head coach at Wheeler. I've known Larry Thompson, amazing coach, amazing person. Started touching base with him. His father would bring him, and we would do Vertimax, do little workouts with him or whatever when he was in middle school. And then once he got to high school, I worked with Larry to create a training program at the school, at Wheeler High School, who already had an amazing lineage of NBA players and college stars that have come out of their state championships and so forth. So we kind of rebuilt the program in our image. And, in that 4-year run, we got 3 state championships. And Isaiah was there from freshman year. And I think the first year he didn't buy in all the way. And he was middle of the ground, middle of the land. He was like a top 15 kid. And over the years, he kept seeing the more work he did, the better he got. And it culminated with, this spring and summer, him taking over that top spot or whatever. And he was hurt for about 6 weeks. He had a meniscus injury, came back from that and immediately won MVP in the Steph Curry camp. and then the following week got MVP in Elite 24 camp. So that's a kid that doesn't want to be an NBA player, doesn't want to be an NBA All-Star. He doesn't want to be a superstar. He wants to be an icon. So he's reaching for the stars, and his willingness to work and develop his game after the game, like right after the game. And these are stories I told him about Kevin Durant. I said, KD did this at Texas after the game. He didn't shoot well. So he went right to the gym, worked on his game. And the next game he played, he had like 39 or 36. And then he kept doing that after every home game, just working on his game instead of going back to the dorms. Why would you go back to the dorms if your goal is to go be one and done and be an NBA great? So that's what he did. I told that same story to DeJounte Murray. I told that same story to Devin Booker when they were in high school, going to school. And both those guys were gym rats. They did the same type of work, and they were one and done. It's a lot easier than people think if you actually put the time in. Zay is going to do that. I call him Zay, Isaiah. He's going to do that. He's going to be a special player that we're going to talk about for years to come. 6'4", 200 pounds, elite, fast, strong. He's he's probably the best passer we've had in high school basketball since Chris Paul, in my opinion. And I think he's a Jason Kidd prototype. You know, that fast guard that can get that ball up the court in 3-4 dribbles, you know, kind of like a John Wall, De'Aaron Fox, that kind of speed. And then he can make every pass. You know, that's where he differs with John Wall and De'Aaron Fox. Those guys were point guards, but they were not that pass first point guard that can make everybody good, that can score at will. That's what he is. I think he'll be the number 1 or number 2 pick in the NBA draft in 2024. And that's the way he's going to work. Arrington Page, on the other hand, 6'10". He's just sprouted within the last couple of years. His sophomore year, he wasn't even good enough to get any playing time on varsity. And he just did okay on JV. But he works. And one of my good friends is the head associate coach at Wheeler, Darnell Shepard. Once I left, he took over the development of AP and also Isaiah. And I come back every few weeks or whatever and work with the guys, and I send them drills to do and stuff to do. And they follow it because that's our plan. And those kids have developed into 2 of the better players in the country. And it only made sense for them to go to USC, not just because the mom is from California and it's Sunshine City, but I live 7 minutes away. So we'll be getting that work in at the next level starting in May for Zay and starting in June for AP. We'll just work. Those are special kids. Those kids want to be successful. And, you know, they're putting the work in to be that. So those are the kind of kids that I tell, hey, you got to do this. And they'll be like, okay. Those other kids you were saying, Malik, when you give them the advice on, well, you should do this, 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 and they talk back to you. No, you don't talk back. You don't say you don't want to do this. You don't say you don't want to do that. You don't say, well, maybe I don't want to do this, or maybe that's too much. Or Kobe Bryant used to work out 8 hours a day in the summer. Everybody talks about mama mentality, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Show me a kid right now that you know of, that you've heard a story of, that works out 8 hours a day, or 5 hours a day, or 4 hours a day. There are none. Very few.
Very
so
yep.
People talk mama mentality, but they don't live it. Isaiah lives it. You know, AP is getting there. You know what I'm saying? He's getting there. He's a late bloomer, so you got to let him bloom when it's time. But I mean, I just love what I do so much, and I love working with people who want that work. They want to be great. It's my job as a teacher to get there early and stay late, to make sure that they pass. Because if you're a teacher of anything, if your student fails, you fail. And I refuse to fail.
We appreciate you, Mark. Really appreciate you for hopping on with us, having this conversation. I can't thank you enough for this, and really appreciate it. So thanks for coming through to Hoops and Huddle podcast, and we will reach out again for another topic
definitely
at a later time.
Definitely hit me. I'm with
how can people find you? They want to follow you
Um,
or tune into what you're working on? Where they go?
well, I don't post drills on
Okay.
the internet
Okay,
No, he's
that's
because
not
fine.
one of those.
I
No.
put I will put stuff up every now and then once a player has done something well. And I'll be like, this is the kind of work he did, like for
Okay.
Vertimax work. I don't put basketball drills on the internet because it's not fair to the person that did the work, and it's not fair to the people that are seeing the work because they're never getting the proper instruction. When you
Mm,
see somebody doing a movement, you're not getting the play by play on why you're doing it, what type of team you're doing it against, um, the finite details of the drill, the footwork behind it, the follow through,
that's fair.
where he's looking, the look away. What am I talking about in that play? People are just putting clips up of movements and they're replicating them, and that's not how you do things. We never practiced moves. We worked on our handle. We became great ball handlers out of New York City because we dribbled the basketball everywhere we went. So
Right.
it wasn't. So if I'm crossing the street and somebody walks in front of me, I'll just put it between my legs, and I'm just still dribbling the ball. That was just a thing. So we could, they talk about getting to whatever spot you want to get to. We didn't think about doing a move to get to that spot. We just knew how to dribble the ball and move our bodies so we can get to that spot.
Right. Right. Right.
So
Right.
it's
Right.
a
Right.
natural thing. It's organic. So when you
Hmm.
put the drills up and you have a real detailed explanation as to why you're doing the drill, so on and so forth, you're cheating the viewer and you're
Hmm.
cheating the person that's doing that drill because in the midst of me doing this, I'm talking. I got a camera on me. I'm trying to get the right angle to look good or whatever. I don't know. If you come in and film me, I don't care. But don't ask me no questions. Don't mess
Right.
with my workout. My focus is my client. So I rarely will,
Okay.
have that. And then my workouts are boring because we focus on mastering a few things per workout. We build foundational work
You
and
work
we
on the
add on top
fundamentals.
of it, and then we add on top of it because it's ordinary. When you master the ordinary, it becomes extraordinary. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Right.
it's pillars. You start with a between the legs, then you can work on between the legs cross. Then you work on between legs cross, one dribble. Between legs cross, one dribble into the shot. Between legs cross. There's building blocks
Mm-hmm.
Right.
before you get to that. And before we even start moving forward, we're stationary. Like, how many trainers work on passing? Just passing the ball. Like in my gym, like I'm not passing you the ball all day long. No, if it's two of y'all, you get the rebound, you pass it to them, and all your passes better be good. All you're doing push-ups. And we're doing multiple passing drills. We're talking about how if you're throwing a bounce pass, it's got to bounce above their waist. If you got a big boy that's rolling to the rim, if you throw a bounce pass, most likely he's not going to catch it. It's your turnover because they got to get down low. He's too tall to get down low there. So putting drills online just has been a good thing for me.
Okay.
I'd rather have people reach out to me directly and come work out. I'm gonna
Okay.
charge you though,
That's oh,
but
I get it.
if you don't if you don't get better, no. If you don't get better, I give you your money back. If you leave my workout and feel like you didn't get better, I'll just give you your money back.
Hmm.
And people will say, "Oh, well, guys will just come in and just get the workout and not pay you." No, because they want to come back.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
don't go to a great restaurant and act like you had a hair in your food and then you can't come back there. No, I want to eat there all the time if I find something I love.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So nah,
That's
they
right.
can reach me on Twitter. It's M
Okay.
Edwards B Ball.
Yeah.
M Edwards B Ball. Yeah.
And
Okay.
we'll put when we publish the episode, we'll put
Yeah.
your Twitter handle and your so they'll be able to reach out to you.
And my
So
phone number is on my Twitter. Guys can text me, they can DM me or whatever. I always respond.
Okay.
okay,
All
cool.
right.
Thanks so much, Mark. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thank you guys. I
All right.
appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
All
you.
right. Thank you, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Whew. Man, I love hearing cats that are passionate about helping kids get to the next level. And he was really spitting game, and definitely around not just having skill, but having your body ready. Like that's big time. But I appreciate Mark coming through. Malika, any thoughts you have about what Mark shared?
I really appreciate hearing directly from a skill developer that works with youth and trains youth on the court, and also pros that works from the youth to the pros, and his thoughts on this AAU versus load management discussion, and hearing his thoughts on the game and when working with young players. It was a, Mark is so knowledgeable about the game on all levels. So I appreciate him for coming through and sharing his knowledge with us.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So this is another week. Let's go ahead and close it out. What you got?
For our Legend of the Week this week, we're going to give and show some love to Dr. J, the great Dr. J, who inspired the greats that came after him on the court and off the court. Dr. J, of course, got his start in college with UMass, University of Massachusetts. He ended up leaving there as a junior and entering the ABA. He started playing with the Virginia Squires, and then he was traded to the New York Nets after that. And with the New York Nets, he won a championship in 1976, and the only championship for the Nets is when they were an ABA team. And Dr. J was our star player. He was the focus and the star of the ABA as a whole, pretty much. He was that center superstar that helped get the league to take on 4 teams in 1977-78. And he ended up being traded from the New York Nets to the Philadelphia 76ers. And we're going to have a show centered on Dr. J at another time to go through the specifics of his background with the ABA and the NBA. But with the NBA, of course, he's an NBA champion with the Philadelphia 76ers. He's actually, idiot. He is a 2-time champion with the ABA, with the New York Nets. He is an ABA playoffs MVP, 2-time. He is a 3-time ABA most valuable player. So yeah, he was the ABA superstar. He's an 11-time NBA All-Star. He was a 5-time ABA All-Star. He is a 5-time All-NBA first team and 2-time All-NBA second team. And the accolades go on and on. He was the first ABA slam dunk champion in 1976, the first one. He is in the College Basketball Hall of Fame and the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. So let's show some love. And of course, before we get there, he was an NBA anniversary team for the 35th, 50th, and 75th anniversaries. So, Dr. J, thank you for your contributions to the game. I can talk about you forever, and we are going to have a show dedicated to you. He was, of course, and I have to end it with this, he was, of course, a member of the ABA all-time team. If I had the claps sound effect, that will go here. But let's, all of us, we could shout for where we are. Dr. J, Julius Irving, and we're out.
We're out.